In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of jQuery's the different types of selectors that jQuery has made available to us. So let's jump back into our web document and let's just start with a new file. I'm going to save this file as selectors.html. And we're going to set up our HTML document. Let's give it a title, jQuery selectors. Sorry about that. Title. Okay, so now we're going to add in our jQuery, and of course we have to give it a source attribute, and we will find it in our jQuery folder where we saved it. Also, we're going to go ahead and create another script file. And with this script file, we're going to include our JavaScript code in a different file altogether. So we're going to just call it with a type of text, JavaScript, and give it another attribute of source. And we're going to save this inside our JS folder, and we can just call it custom selectors.js. And let's just go ahead and add in a link for any CSS styling that we may want to add into our document. So of course, we know the attributes. We have to add a style sheet. Type is CSS text. And an href, we have our CSS folder, and we will just call it style.css. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some elements to this web document. Of course, we need our body tag. And here, let's add a couple of paragraphs to our document. And I'm just going to copy this a couple of times to save time. This is the paragraph. Let's give this paragraph an ID, and let's call it Mark. Let's add a strong tag here. Okay, so in HTML, when you're dealing with an ID tag, the ID attribute must be unique. Okay, so since we have an ID here of Mark, Mark has to be unique to this paragraph only. In the case of a class, a class may be used in multiple instances. So remember, the value of an ID is unique and the class may be used in multiple instances. So let's add a couple more elements to our web document. One more paragraph. And with this paragraph, I'm going to dynamically load some text using jQuery. So as a placeholder, I'll put not loaded yet. And let's put a button. Of course, our type is equal to button. And we will create an event handler to change the text in this paragraph. So let's call our button replace text. All right, so let me save this document and load it. So that document is called, let me just double check here, selectors.html. And here we have our web document. Let me just zoom in a little bit. There we go. Now it's time to use some jQuery to make some changes in our document. So let's go ahead and create our custom selectors file, which we haven't created as yet. So let's go ahead and create that now. So let's create a new file and let's save this inside our JS folder and call it. And just so there are no errors, I'm just going to copy this name in our JS folder and let's just paste it and save it. Alright, so now we have our custom selectors.js file. Alright, so now we can start writing some jQuery. Of course, we're going to need our document.ready function. So we'll use our $ as our jQuery alias. Document.ready. Inside here, we have our function. And let's just close off with our semicolon. So the first thing we're going to do, let us select our paragraph, which has an ID of Mark. So in order to do this, we use our selector, and because it's an ID, we have to use the pound sign in order to select it. So it's similar to CSS. IDs, you require the pound or hashtag sign to select that element, and with a class you use a dot. So we have to call it using pound mark, and let us change the CSS color. Let's change the background actually. So let's adjust the background. And let's make it yellow. You can choose whichever color you please. So let us save this and refresh our document, and we get a yellow background. Okay, so if we wanted to change the background color for our second paragraph, let's change it using our class selector. So let me put a comment here. So we're going to select our paragraph with class of para. So once again, use our selector. And now we have to use the dot, which references a class para. Let's change the CSS. Okay, so let's give this one a background of blue. Save it and refresh. And there you see we have our blue background. Okay, so let us now load our paragraph that hasn't been loaded yet. And in order to do this, we're going to add a click event to our replace text button. So in order to do this, let's add a click event to our button. And we can select our button using the button element tag name, and let us add our click event. So click, and we have to add our function to handle that click event. Okay, so let us do an alert and or a console log just to demonstrate that our click event is actually working. And this is a very important, very useful feature with our JavaScript. Our jQuery, we can console log events. This will help us for debugging purposes. So let us refresh our document, and in order to view our console, you right click on our document, click on inspect, and over here under the console log, okay, we have one error saying we failed to load style.css, and that's because we do not currently have a style.css document. So once we add that document, that error message should go away. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that now. Control new, and let's just save the document. Call it style.css. Alright, so if we refresh this, that error message should disappear. Okay, so now we want to see if our click event is working. So let's click on our replace text button. And we have an error. Okay, so let us see what our error message is saying. So it's saying we have an error on line 9. So let's go back and check line 9 in our custom selectors dot. Okay, so line 9 console log. Okay, oh, it's supposed to be console dot log. Sorry about that. So let's save this, come back and refresh our document, click on our replace text, and we can see here quick event has been fired, so we know that it is now working. All right, so now let us add the functionality to this button. So let's comment this out. So we would like to change the text in this paragraph that has not been loaded yet. So we can simply select that paragraph, and we are going to do call on our text function. And just change the text. The paragraph has been loaded. Save it. Come back and refresh our document. Click on our button. And oh, okay, right. So because we selected all the paragraphs, it changed the text for all of them. So let me come back and give this paragraph a unique ID. And let's just call it load. Load paragraph. And let's change this to load par. Save this. Fresh. Click on replace text. And now we see that our paragraph has been loaded. Alright, so another way to select an element on your web page is by using the type attribute. So let's add a form to our web page. Let's come down a little bit here. Let's do a quick form. Give it a text field. Let's close that. Let's do a name and password form. And we can give this a type of password. Close it. And lastly, we'll add an input button. So here you can see the different ways of assigning buttons. And we'll give this a value of sign in. So these are two different ways you can define buttons in HTML. So let's go ahead and save this. And let's refresh our document. And we have our form. Let me add a break here, or even an HR. Save that. Let's also add in a break. Alright, so we have a little more separation here. Okay, so let's go back to our jQuery document, and we would like to select this button by the type attribute. And it's really very simple. Let's come here, select by type attribute. Okay, so inside our double quotations, we want to define our input type. So we type input and we open up our curly braces. Inside our curly braces, we put type equals the same way we have it in our HTML document. Type is equal to text. And these would need to be single quotations since we're using double quotations inside of this string. so, and we can give it a, let's give it a background color. So let's say and I think we should be able to type gray in here. Let's check that and see. Refresh. Okay. All right, let's try green. Okay. I wonder what's happening with this. Input type equals text. And we want a CSS background to be green. Okay, so there are no errors in our console. Let me refresh this again. Okay, let's take another look at our HTML. Label, name, input type equal text. This input type is equal password. This input type is equal button. Type equals, actually this should be submit. Value of sign in, let's save that. Let's come back here. So we're selecting input type of text and we're changing the CSS background to yellow. Let's save this. Let's refresh. So we do get our background color of yellow. I guess because the field had a value in it, it wasn't showing up. Okay, so it works. So we're able to select type of text, and if we want to save, let's copy this. And we can change this in type to password. Let's see if our gray actually works. Let's refresh this. Right. So there we have it. Alright, so this was an introduction to selectors in jQuery. I think I'll stop the recording here and we will continue with selectors in our next video. Alright, see you in our next video.